Hey everybody, guess who's back? That's right, it's me, Simply Super Dave. I know I haven't done an episode, a real talking one yet in a while, but that's okay, we'll get to it. Number 2 is on the agenda today for our top 10 countdown. That's right, we're all the way down to number 2. Now this movie is a defining movie for me. One of the most creative visions, storytelling, and a modern day tale. Definitely a modern day tale. Very, gosh. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I have watched this movie. I owned the soundtrack at one point. I had to go out and find the double disc DVD collector item that had all the information I just obsessed myself with. But we'll get to the reveal of that movie momentarily, as we of course do the rundown from the top 10 of all time movies that Simply Super Dave just can't live without. Number 10 was True Romance, one of my favorite. Every time I think about this movie, I want to watch it. That's why it's on my top 10 list. To this day, still relevant, great flick to watch. Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, all-star cast, Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper. That scene alone is worth watching this movie for. All right, number 9 is American Beauty. I have gone over it 1,000 times. This movie, Chris Cooper, the next door neighbor. I mean, just amazing performances in this film as well. But the bag scene, Wes Bentley won me over as an actor with that. That whole scene where he's talking to the daughter next door and describing a bag floating in the wind is a heart-wrenching, beautiful scene, and I love it. And definitely why number 9, it claims that spot. Number 8 was controversial on the list because it was Titanic, which would make anyone's top 10 list. And is a great film within its own right. Could do a whole episode just about Titanic. But The Big Lebowski came in and bounced out the James Cameron flick. Yes, the Coen brothers. So many great movies they have directed. Raising Arizona, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Fargo. Just an eclectic list of movies. And if you're a film lover, then you would have seen all of them. But The Big Lebowski, I have personal resonance with. Not only as it does have an all-star cast as well, but Sam Elliott was the cherry on top. But Jeff Bridges will always be remembered as the dude, and definitely a deserving spot on the list. Number 7 was a trendsetter within its own right. Also best picture of the best year ever in movie history, 1994, Forrest Gump. Run, Forrest, run. I don't even have to talk about this movie. You should know about it. The significance to this movie to me was the CGI technology that Robert Brilliant Mind Zemeckis used to really push Forrest Gump in a way that we've never seen in movies before, bringing history to life, really, and putting Forrest smack dab in the middle of it. Number 6 is the most modern entry on the list. It is Avengers Endgame. I have talked a lot about movies and how comic books are a big influence and how I love the superhero genre. It's just another category in a Blockbuster video store that has its own section, okay? That's all it is. There's no controversy to it. As a film fan, I could watch Goodfellas and turn around and watch Iron Man and be happy in one day, okay? I'm not breaking any laws, and that's how it is. And Endgame brings together an enormous storyline I've never seen done in movie cinema history, and that is what happened from Iron Man all the way to Avengers Endgame. And as a true comic book fan, you have to enjoy that. It's something I dreamed about happening as a kid, seeing it happen in real life and being able to go into a theater in 3D nonetheless and then enjoy those films was a delight treat for the 10-year-old kid inside of me. So that's why Avengers Endgame is on that and not Spider-Man something, because Spider-Man is my favorite, but Endgame really just so many storylines. Just brilliant. Kevin Feige, you're the man. All right. That brings us to our top 5 films, right? Oh, no, you're like this episode, we're never going to get to number 2, right? Yeah, well, number 5 is also from 1994, the greatest year in cinema movie history, The Shawshank Redemption. I don't have to talk about that movie. I really don't. You should just watch that movie. All right, number 4 is The Crow. Recent entry, so we don't really need to cover it again that much, but Brandon Lee will always be remembered, and I have that movie. It would probably be as many times as number 2 I have seen on, just either playing in the background or just watching it because why not? And then watching it again while I was drawing or something. Just the influence of certain movies in my life and my artistic visions and how I look at life and really think about it is because a lot of the background noise have been movies like this. The Crow is one of those for me. Number 3 was, of course, my opinion, the best film of 1994, Pulp Fiction. Quentin Tarantino, just a genius with his own right. Obviously a role model to me because I worked in a video store and I love video stores. And he was born from a video store. And but his creative vision and what he has done has set his own mark in movie cinema history. Why I keep wanting to say Mova? I don't know why. But anyway, it makes me think of a Seinfeld episode. That brings us, of course, Pulp Fiction. I know Forrest Gump won it that year, and Shawshank Redemption as well, but Pulp Fiction, was copied, and it just changed. 1994 was the year. Let's not forget The Lion King came out that year as well. Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, so many movies, so many. What's Love got to do with it? We just saw Angela Bassett win a Golden Globe recently, and her last win was for playing Tina Turner in that classic film. Definitely another recommend there from 1994. I'm telling you, it's the year. That brings us to number 2. Number 2 comes from the year 1999. Oh, yeah, back when American Beauty won Best Picture. So I knew this film didn't have a shot because it was so different than the mainstream everything you've ever seen before. And what a movie that will turn its... has a plot twist that will turn you on your head that will make you have to rewatch the film immediately. Not only that, but accompanied by a soundtrack by some of the greatest musicians ever to accompany a film, the Dust Brothers. What a soundtrack that was, by the way. Definitely recommend. You can visualize the whole movie as you're listening to the soundtrack, I'm telling you. But the film stars the great Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, and Helena Bonham Carter. And it's directed by who I consider maybe the best director of all time. And I'm not kidding. His name is David Fincher. And this movie really brought a vision I have never seen on the screen before in a storytelling way that I just visually ate it up like just candy. I enjoyed rewatching the movie various times to catch small clippets that blink within a second, just to catch characters in the film. But like I said, Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, my God, what a duo, what a on-screen duo. And like I said, there is a continuation of the story from that movie. It is in a graphic comic book. There's a short story form for the first book. Chuck Palahniuk, yeah, I think I said that right, is a very different kind of author to read, but what a great series. Definitely noteworthy. Not going to talk about the movie much, except for you are not a beautiful and unique snowflake. You are the same decaying organic crap as everything else. You are the dancing crap of the world. What a humbling movie to really look and see where I have really pulled a lot of how I feel about corporate America and life in general is from this movie as Fight Club. That's how transcendent. I'm not going to talk about the movie because I do not want to ruin it for anyone. And I know that as popular as this movie may be, like Pulp Fiction or Forrest Gump, not a lot of people have really taken the time to watch the film. And I really recommend to do it around 2 a.m. in the morning. That would probably be about the best viewing time to enjoy Fight Club. And I know we've all had those sleepless nights, and I would definitely think, what movie would put me in the mood? Now, if you wanted to stay awake, that is, then put in Fight Club. Because this movie will have you thinking about your life in ways that you never have before. Great movie. Number 2 on my top 10 of all time movies that Simply Super Dave just cannot live without. So I hope you check it out. Like I said, Fight Club, 1999. I don't want to talk about the movie, plus there's rules that are involved, and I don't want to break those. So anyway, check it out. And tune in for the next episode as we discuss the number 1 movie of all time on my top 10 list. And if you know me, if you've been watching me streaming, you already know the movie. But if you don't and you're following the podcast, you'd be surprised. It did win Best Picture, I'll give you a hint. And it is not from the greatest year of all time in movie cinema history, of course. But to me was probably the last greatest film, not movie, I've seen in a long time. And I still haven't been topped. All right, we'll get to that. Remember, love and laughter is the only way to conquer hate and fear, so go be a conqueror, don't be a victim. Have a wonderful Sunday.